Look at these thatched roof huts and the people gathered outside them. For generations, this was the baseline of life in Maithili, a society deeply rooted in its physical soil. But the traditional sounds of these villages are going quiet. The wandering satirical storytellers known as the Bant are disappearing, and the Dol Pipai, the traditional drum and oboe bands that played for every local festival, are struggling to find an audience. This silence is driven by palayan, a mass economic exodus that is systematically hollowing out the region's culture. This migration is a multi-generational reality. For decades, Maithili speakers have packed onto railway platforms exactly like this one, leaving their ancestral homes behind for work in distant states. When a physical population disappears, the cultural arteries that connect them are severed. A regional identity is inextricably tied to its geography. When the people leave, the culture begins to starve. The root causes of palayan are strictly economic. Local industries have collapsed, sugar mills sit shut down and decaying, and modern factories are non-existent. For the youth growing up in Maithili today, looking toward distant cities is the only viable requirement for survival. You can see the weight of this movement in the faces of these migrants, carrying their entire lives and their immediate futures on their backs. They trade rural plains for dense commercial districts, becoming absorbed by alien urban centers, where they are isolated from the communities that shaped their language. Maithili is bleeding out geographically. Economic survival has become the direct enemy of cultural preservation. A new generation of writers and artists is now attempting to stem this cultural hemorrhage. Their primary tool is the Videha e-journal. Its title page features this intricate white mandala art, a visual marker for the first digital publication dedicated entirely to the Maithili language. Videha operates as a borderless digital sanctuary. It uses the internet to bind a scattered, exiled population together through their native tongue, regardless of where they have migrated. This movement uses literature as a call to action. In the novel Matrabhumi, the protagonist embodies the ultimate fantasy of the diaspora, a successful migrant who returns home to physically rebuild his community. Modern Maithili literature has replaced nostalgic poetry with an active, deliberate weapon designed to shame the disconnected and call the diaspora back home. To survive the speed of the 21st century, the stories themselves are shrinking. Writers are turning to the Bihani Katha, a 100-word storytelling format designed specifically for time-starved modern readers. This chart shows how writer demographics have shifted. Nearly half the authors using this format are women, creating a 50-50 balance. These authors use the format to tackle contemporary anxieties, writing about feminism, Facebook culture, and the lingering trauma of the COVID pandemic. This rapid-fire digital format stands in stark contrast to the slow oral traditions of the wandering Bant from a century ago. To keep an ancient language alive today, its storytelling mediums must adapt to the technology and attention spans of the modern world. But as writers fight to preserve their language from external economic pressures, they are exposing an internal threat, self-inflicted cultural wounds. A rigid Brahminical dominance continues to exclude Dalit voices from the literary mainstream. It acts as a padlocked gate, separating a small elite on the inside from a massive crowd of speakers outside. Critics describe an awards mafia, an institutional system where corruption ensures that recognition remains within the old guard, stifling genuine, diverse talent. The progressive writers realize that fighting migration is pointless if the culture they save remains exclusionary. They are working to democratize their language from within. The modern Maithili literary movement now operates as a gritty, multi-front socio-political battleground. Survival is impossible without addressing the raw economic realities, the lack of jobs and infrastructure that force people to migrate in the first place. Internal survival is equally impossible without dismantling the institutional inequalities that silence marginalized voices. This has created a bittersweet reality. The preservation of this ancient rural culture now relies more on digital connectivity than on physical community. As long as e-journals continue to publish and writers keep pushing for change, the heartbeat of Maithili survives, even if it now echoes from a smartphone screen hundreds of miles away from home.